All right, greetings, gumshoes, and welcome to another episode of Silver Screen Sleuths, the alliterative show all about authors discussing mystery movies and television shows. I should have named it something easier to say. But with me today is one of my absolute favorite writers, actually inspired me to write mystery novels with her
Stop it.
first book. I'm not kidding. Libby Cudmore, how the hell are you?
I am great. It is so great to be back here with you.
I'm so excited. I'm not kidding when I tell you that I started straight up author stalking Libby on social media. And I was like, we're going to be friends because I loved your book. And she was just like, okay, weirdo, let's talk about books.
I know, and now we're friends. And you wrote my dream book. You wrote Effie Perrine PI. You took my joke and you actually made it into a 3-book series, and it's so good. You're so talented.
I just love talking to you so much because, okay, start off by telling everybody about your books because you're so freaking talented. I want everybody to read them if they haven't already.
Oh my God, don't make me talk about my books. You talk about my books. No, I'm the author of The Big Rewind from William Morrow. I am the author of Negative Girl from Datura, and there's actually a sequel to Negative Girl coming out in 2027, as well as a short story collection featuring my sleuths, Martin Wade and Valerie Jacks. The pages of Ellery Queen, a couple award winners in there, a couple award finalists in there.
Just got published in Ellery Queen, won some awards, little things.
I mean, I had a series in Ellery Queen. It's not a big deal. I actually had someone get mad at me one time because I mentioned, I just wrote a story and they took it and they're like, that's offensive to people who haven't gotten an Ellery Queen yet. I'm like, can you turn off your white male mediocrity for 1 second and not make things about you?
Offensive! Ooh, the way I want to throw punches to some people in this industry, it's not even funny.
I know, it was ridiculous. I was humble bragging, and I'm like, well, I kind of was, because I literally just read their submission guidelines, read the magazine, and didn't send them a story filled with sex and swear words and gore.
Go figure.
I know, imagine that.
Following the rules.
Submission guidelines, those are for
What
pussies.
Are you talking about? You goof. You goof. But today we are talking about really just an absolutely stellar, based on a novel, mystery movie called Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I don't know why I wasn't expecting you to suggest it, but the second you did, I was like, score, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of Jessica Rabbit changed my life. She changed so many lives. It's the reason that I'm here today with my victory roll, my vintage lipstick, Roger. I got this is just like my casual wear. You got to see this. I've got a pencil skirt on. I got that all up in this.
Love it. The nipped waist, you wasp waist beauty. I love ya.
Thank you. But yeah, so Jessica Rabbit just changed my whole life. Have you read Who Censored Roger Rabbit?
So I read it a couple years ago when for FBOL, for my old show, and I watched the movie for the first time for my guests, sister podcast. It was Guy Goes by TV's Travis, and he has a show called Wait You Haven't Seen.
And You've never seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I had never seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit until I was about 38 years old.
Oh my God. I mean, I never watched it all the way through until I was in my 20s, because the part where he gets crushed where Judge Doom gets crushed under the pavement, I had to leave the room. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I think I was probably in my 20s when I was finally like, I will watch this all the way through because I am an adult.
I'm going to suck it up and watch Christopher Lloyd be flattened.
Absolutely flattened.
Yeah. But the book and the movie are very different.
So different. The book
shockingly
is
so
weird.
I loved it. I'm not going to lie.
I could probably go with a reread, but I knew it was going to be a lot different because I'd read a lot about it. I'd read a lot about the book and the movie. This is one of those things where I know everything. I've been down the rabbit holes. I actually, I have the soundtrack on vinyl. I've got Roger here. I've got a lot of the toys, and I've got the book and the special editions. And I actually have the auction catalog when they were auctioning off a lot of the cells and props.
That's
so
cool.
I like that level of into this movie. And so I knew going in that the book was going to be a lot different. I think I read it in grad school, and
yeah,
it was very much this is so weird.
There's a magical
teapot.
Good. It's so different, but it is really good. I don't know why, but I was expecting it to be a graphic novel, and then when I opened it up and it was just words, I was like, none of this is computing in my head.
Yeah, like it's very, you have to really like sit down and picture it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it,
they did
yeah,
no
it's,
heavy lifting for you at
nope,
all in the book.
kind of love
Love
it.
it, though. Yeah, but the movie is, I would say, to me, equally as good as the book, or probably better. It is its own product, but it is really, really, really good, unlike a lot of things that kind of get translated that are zany, and then it either becomes too zany on screen or not zany enough. This is like just a wonderful combination
Yeah, kind of a
of
reimagining in a lot of
yeah,
ways,
yeah.
like true to the heart, but taking it in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I think certainly in the time period that it was made, was late 1980s, they were dealing very heavily with the problem that cartoons or animated automatically meant for children, which of course everybody's fighting back heavier now with like adult animation and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
poor Robert Zemeckis had the anvil around his neck or falling on from the sky of like, there's animated characters, this has to be as appropriate as we can get it for kids.
Yeah, we hadn't yet reached Ralph Bakshi as a mainstream.
Yeah,
He was like,
yeah.
he was one of the guys who was doing it, and he would try. He would try his
Uh-huh.
hardest in 1994 with Cool World. That also, I do have a soft spot for Cool World,
Yeah, I know.
like a real soft spot for Cool World. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not a good movie. I just enjoy it. Incredible soundtrack.
let us know, we can draw that line of delineation where
Yes.
it's not good, we just like it.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, but Roger Rabbit is good. I
Roger
think we
Rabbit
have
is
to.
good. It's Chinatown, but for babies.
Yeah, exactly, and weirdly factual. I also like
Yes,
Chinatown. Yeah, weirdly
yes.
accurate.
Which I love. I loved, like, that's one of those things, one of the great things about, I think, being a kid in the 90s, is like seeing that or hearing like Zoot Riot, which you know
Yeah,
how I feel about the daddies, and then realizing, oh, there's actually more to this than like just a pop song or a movie, and getting to use that as a jumping off point for history. Or like when you would watch Mystery Science Theater 3000 and then you'd like get references all of these years later. And so it's something that like
yes,
continues to grow with you
yeah,
and like continue to engage in that level of thinking and also just enjoyment. Just like, oh, I've
yeah.
now discovered something else cool.
Yeah. No, I think also one of the wonderful things about growing up when we grew up is that like genre wasn't off limits by any means. Like
Hmm.
having a hard boiled PI character in a kid's movie was not sort of like, he didn't have to be too scrubbed up. He didn't have to be too cleaned up. He didn't have to be cutified in order to be a character that was meant for like, I would say like ages like 8 and up for this movie was probably like the who they were writing for. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't babies, but it was like once you start to hear your classmates curse, you're like in with Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. And I think I definitely saw this at the Park Theater, and I don't think I made it through the whole movie. I think I probably, like, I was a very sensitive child,
Yeah.
and so I probably didn't make it all the way through. I can't think of where I would have tapped out, but I think it, like, made me uncomfortable pretty early on,
Yeah. I mean,
which is
certainly when the
good.
shoe gets dipped, I would have lost it as a kid.
I still, like, get upset as an
Yeah,
adult. Like, I know it's not a real shoe, but I'm just like, that was one of those moments, like, as a kid that, like, traumatizes you. And
absolutely.
I say love, like, in an ironic adult sense, that millennial childhood movies were all bleak as hell.
Yes, they
They
were.
were like violent and kind of bleak, and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, you are having too much screen time. You probably shouldn't watch too much. Here, go read Bridge to Terabithia. That's a
Exactly.
good book for you." Or Where the Red
Yeah,
Fern Grows. Like those are
totally.
fun.
Mhm.
So just like we were just surrounded by bleakness at all time. It's like the shoe's gonna get dipped, and she's gonna crack her head on a rock and drown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are hard
That's
truths
fun.
you need to be introduced to before, like, puberty even remotely sets in.
I know,
Like, you
don't
need to know
even.
these things are
Exactly.
entirely possible. Yeah. 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 No, I
Just gotta squeeze him a little harder.
he's just so cute, and it's one of those things where it's like, I was not allowed to watch this movie as a child, like, my mother was very, very strict about the things we were allowed to watch. I remember the merchandise in stores, we had, like, a Warner Brothers store in our mall, and this
Yes.
was like, oh my god, Roger Rabbit was everywhere, and I always remember thinking he was really, really cute, but we were not allowed to interact with it at all. I didn't even know probably that like Bob Hoskins, an actual human actor, was in the movie. Like, there's no way I would have known that.
And it's so between seeing Who Framed Roger Rabbit and seeing Super Mario Brothers in 1993, I did not know Bob Hoskins was British. Like that
Yeah.
came so much later.
He's
Like
also
finding out
in
he was British was
Mermaids,
like,
and I don't think he has an English accent or like a British accent in Mermaids either. Like,
no, I didn't see Mermaids
yeah,
until much later. But yeah, like I just assumed he was
yeah.
an American. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I didn't get through Who Framed Roger Rabbit on the first go, but I was kind of obsessed with it, especially Jessica. I have
Yeah,
this little figure of her. Hold that up, which
yeah.
I had as a kid because I remember playing with it in the bathtub. She's got, can't quite see it, but she's got a weasel
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like on her frying pan, and my husband found that and bought it for me for my birthday a couple years ago. So
Oh my god, I love
I,
it.
I
Yeah.
love I love this movie so much, and I love her.
She was probably the reason I wasn't allowed to watch it because she's so overtly sexual in a way
Mm-hmm.
that, like, you can't even deny if you don't even, like, know what sex is. You know, you're just kind of like, "Oh, there's something adult happening there," and, like, even if you can't verbalize it. But
Yeah.
she's just the perfect femme fatale. Like, oh my god, she's just so wonderful. I think one of the things I love about her specifically, is that she's so dedicated to her husband, the weaselly Roger Rabbit, who's just like, "Why? Why?"
Don't listen to her. She doesn't
Oh,
know.
but you also have, Eddie's girlfriend who is just kind of like she's not really jealous because she's a toon, you know what I mean? I love how they play with that sort of like, mm,
But
it's like
she does get jealous at first because when she goes to see him, there's that deleted scene, the
yeah,
pighead sequence, um, and she blows the kiss and it sticks to him, and she just like rips it off, and she's like, "I caught you with your pants down."
yeah, with the pants down.
So she gets over it pretty quick. It's funny because, Jessica is devoted to Roger because he makes her laugh. And honestly, like, that's true. When guys are like, we have to look smacks and all this to get chicks, like,
Oh, you
Jessica
don't.
Rabbit pulled this
Yeah.
because he made her laugh. And meanwhile, you always get the sense that Dolores is
Mhm.
one step out the door already. Like, she loves Eddie, but that guy's a hot mess.
Yeah, yeah, and they do a really excellent job of pointing out that, like, first of all, it's Bob Hoskins, who is very magnetic, but not exactly a stereotypical looker, and
Hmm.
Dolores is a babe for being a woman in her 30s or 40s,
Yeah, she can
and
get it.
she can get it. She's a doll. And like the reason why she's halfway out the door is because he's lost his sense of humor. Like I had not caught the first time I watched this, which was probably the last time I watched this, where it's like he was a clown. Like prior to becoming a cop, he
Yeah,
was a clown.
yeah,
And
his
she's just like, I
family
fell in
were
love with
circus.
you. Yeah, when you were a circus man. It's so lovely. The through line of tooniness is so lovely in this movie. Artfully done, writers. You know
Yeah.
what you're
It's an
doing.
incredibly well-written movie.
I love the tooniness of this. I love that I love that it's set in Hollywood. And I love Hollywood. I think Hollywood mysteries are very difficult to do because there are a few that get it really, really right. This is one of them. And most of the time they get it really, really wrong because Hollywood is often seen as a place where the people are bad, but the city isn't dirty. Nobody ever shows that the city is like a city and it's scrungy. And I think there's a lot of reason for that. But this movie strikes such a wonderful balance of showing you the dirt of an old city. And
Mhm.
I think it does an excellent job of creating the setting and creating just how down and out Eddie is.
And then the people around him, like when he goes into the bar, it's a bunch of
Mhm.
barflies guys, working class guys who've just gotten off their shifts. One of the guys has lost his job because the trolley has been bought up. Um,
Mhm.
like really showing the working class of Hollywood, of Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
even
And you
the
know,
the
he
rabbits are working class, or not the rabbits, but like the tunes are working class.
yes. Yes. I think that's like, no one lives in a mansion in this. Normally when you get LA-based things, there's always like oil money mansion in Beverly Hills or like the really wealthy like actor who lives in Beverly Hills. There's none of that here. You have
No, Toontown's kind of a dump.
Toontown's kind of a dump. Toontown is ghettoized and there's literally a wall and they try to like keep them in their place and sell it out from underneath them. And you're like we just did with the SoFi Stadium in Compton, you mean to say. And it really does an excellent job with the politics of urban living in a
Mhm.
cartoon movie made for children directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Yes, in his last good film.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
no, because I think Back to the Future 2 came out after, or Back to the Future 3 came out afterwards. But it's
yeah.
shot earlier. So yes, I think we can say this is his last good film.
I would venture to say that because, yeah, he kind of gets overtaken by the cheese a little bit. And I would assume that Spielberg had a lot more to do with this, considering his wife at the time is Jessica Rabbit's singing voice.
Yes.
And there's a lot of nepotism in this, but it's good. It
Yeah.
it worked out for them. It's a
Yeah.
great movie. Um, like the actuals, I hesitate to just be like, we need to describe the plot of this because I think
If
most
you're
people
listening to this, you already know the plot of Who Framed Roger
the
Rabbit.
plot of this,
If you
but
haven't, guys, you can watch it. Just go watch
yeah,
it and then come
it's
back to us.
about as old as the people talking about the movie right now.
Yeah,
So,
my
yeah,
sister was
you
born
had
a year it
time.
came out. She just had her
Yeah.
4th baby.
My gosh.
Yeah. Whole families have been started
Yes, exactly. The
the time
lineage
since Who
has been
Framed Roger Rabbit
continued.
came out.
Yeah. This is an old movie, but it doesn't, I think one of the things about PIs and especially something that's a little bit harder boiled, there's murder on the page in this, so we could call it hard boiled. There is something just so wonderfully timeless about it, even though we always correlate it with the 1940s and the 1950s. And why do you think that is? Like, why does this feel so like it could happen tomorrow?
I feel like that it could happen tomorrow, or that it could be like you could release this movie today. We're talking
Yeah.
about the events or the film.
Yeah, both. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
I guess
delineated in my brain.
also, I mean, I guess the thing is they keep trying to replicate this, but they
Yeah.
miss the heart of it. It's like Space Jam is not Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No.
Yes, it was a crossover between Disney and Warner Brothers, but it's less about like the product placement and the like marriage of IPs
Yeah.
and more about the story, and that they treat the tunes as fellow actors. And I think the
Yeah.
closest thing we have, honestly, to continuing that legacy is the Muppets, who always, what's great about Muppet Christmas Carol is that Michael Caine treats his fellow Muppets like actors, and what's great about Muppet Treasure Island is the Muppets treat Tim Curry like a fellow Muppet.
Yes.
And I think that's where the movies that have followed in its wake, that are strictly to maximize franchise, insert other buzzword here,
Mhm.
they're just there so you can point and be like, hey, I know what that is,
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than seeing the characters that you know and love as working actors.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think that probably the closest is going to be Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited to see that. I think just one of the things that's so vital about Who Framed Roger Rabbit is that it's conceptualized without the intellectual property aspect of Zemeckis' movie. Like
Mhm.
Zemeckis just knew that he could punch at the studios and get into key characters. But if it had just been done with Roger Rabbit and the original like concepts, I think like Betty Boop appears in the book and stuff like that too, with stuff that's like a way older and was probably out of what's it called? When you're allowed to use things, willy
Well,
nilly
because you
because
could use her because she's a character.
what?
Yeah, like I'm no copyright scholar, but Betty Boop did just enter the public domain because there is a
That's
Betty Boop horror film coming out later this year.
right. Yeah. Man, the poor people who did the Boop musical, they had to pay, but the people who are doing the Booty Boop horror movie don't have to. Yeah. But I love that if they had had no Mickey, no Bugs Bunny, no Looney Tunes, no nothing, and it had just been random animated characters, I feel like the movie still would have worked
Yeah,
very, very well. Yeah.
because it wasn't built around Bugs Bunny. it was built around Jessica. Even some of the characters that populate the world, like the bouncer, you see they feel so natural in that world.
Yeah.
Again, as the sort of working class tunes, as opposed to, Bugs or Goofy. He talks about like Goofy's the best to ever do it. Those are the ones that are like living in the mansions.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the stars, but there are still plenty of working class tunes. The bullets in Eddie's gun, Lena Hyena.
Yes. My God, the bullets, they're so good with like the voice actors that they pulled for this too are just like absolutely dynamite. I feel like putting this sort of zaniness into a PI framework is just so fascinating because like it acknowledges this very weird and heady topic that crime exists everywhere, even in absolute fantasy. And like
I
I
like
talk
that.
a lot in essays and stuff like that about how like the concept of community justice is so like such an incredible part of mystery fiction where it's like
Yes.
especially private investigators and cozies where it's like it's the community that bands together and says like no, this won't fly, and that is so essential to this movie.
Yes, and especially again, it's working class roots.
Yeah.
There's only justice through the PI, and
Yeah.
then because he's the only one that'll take the case. The cops don't care. The cops have been bought off
Yep.
by he says, "Can it, Eddie?" He's a judge. He bought the election.
Exactly.
The cops are sort
Yeah.
of already kowtowing to him, and it gets like if you or I look back at it, we can point out all of the cliches. But
Right.
when you're
Yeah.
a kid, you don't know the cliches. And so it helps. I know it helped me build the sort of base framework
Hmm.
for my understanding of the genre, and then, could build off of that. But this was really my intro into the
Yeah.
genre.
Yes, I'm trying to think of other things that were specifically made for kids. Everybody always name checks Nancy Drew, and I did not read Nancy Drew when I was a
I
kid,
didn't either.
but
It was
I
like this
read
and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
yes, Carmen Sandiego was a huge one. Definitely like the hat and like the sexiness of it was definitely like super appealing. I loved the Babysitters Club like mystery spin-off series.
Never read those.
I had like a bunch of the books. It wasn't until I was an adult and I found like all the old books in my parents' basement that I realized I had all of the mysteries and maybe like 20 of the regular books. I don't care about her taking care of children. I care about these girls solving crime.
I
How
had
did
no
I
idea.
not realize that this was like, part of the way I saw fiction and the way I was in like what I wanted to read about. I was like, I don't care about home problems and how to communicate with your parents. I want them to solve a theft. Like this is insane.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, I didn't read those growing up. I read a lot of like From the Mixed Up Files of Miss Paisley Frankweiler is a
Yeah.
mystery. I actually just reread Wait Till Helen Comes,
Oh.
which that
Ooh.
book rules.
That book rules. That book is
So,
awesome.
like, I want to write. I better be careful because then you'll go and write this because you are a genius. I want to write like a grown-up, like Wait Till Helen Comes, sort of like
Yeah.
something that Mike Flanagan would turn into a TV show.
Totally. Totally. That
So
makes
I'll do
sense.
that when I get done with all my other projects.
Yeah, every
Um,
other thing you currently have in the hopper.
but yeah, especially like also I think about you can kind of see I got the Who Framed Roger Rabbit soundtrack over here, but I've got Sam and I've got Max.
Love it.
So the other two sort of like great
Mhm.
great detectives in my childhood. It was like Eddie Valiant, the
Mhm.
Chief,
Yep.
and then Sam and Max. I think
There
made me the writer that I am today.
There was a little kid's Saturday morning cartoon that I watched very religiously. I don't know how long it was on, but it was, the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries.
Somebody was just talking about that on Blue Sky.
I loved that show. I could still sing you the theme song if I wasn't
Amazing.
desperately embarrassed of how I sang, but, like, it was so catchy, and it was so noir, and it was so 1930s. Like, I was like, "Why did they shovel this at kids?" But it totally makes sense because kids know the difference between right and wrong. We just lose that as we get older.
Oof, that's too real. Um, and I think there's so much of that pastiche across like Looney Tunes. You see a
Mhm.
lot of film noir pastiche. Have you read Dave Housley's Looney?
No.
It's from Had. It's a chapbook / fiction, but it's really dark. fiction pieces about Warner Brothers characters. So there's
Ooh.
like Rabbit and
Yeah.
Hunter and Duck, and my God, it's amazing. It's like one of my favorite
Ooh.
chapbooks.
I need to find this. I need to find this.
Yeah,
Like,
I think he's reissuing it.
ooh.
It's sort of another take on like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I always
Yeah.
tell people who are starting writing mysteries, go watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because it's a film for kids. You could see the beats. Like, it's an enjoyable film, but you can look
Yes.
at where the beats are and then go and read, The Maltese Falcon or The Big Sleep or any other great mystery and sort of match those up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it creates a very good template
Yes.
for the contemporary mystery. And
Yes.
obviously, like, you're going to want to move in some ways past that because it is a very simple story. But there's so much about it that is so good and so heartfelt that sometimes you forget about the mystery
Yeah.
and then you just move into it. And then,
Yeah.
he gets that, that flash of brilliance at that last clue and moves towards the end of it.
There's a couple things that I genuinely love about it because it is obviously a movie meant for children, and there's kids in it for maybe 45 seconds, which was really unusual for movies made for children in the 1980s. It always
Mhm.
had to be very like, who's the young urchin scamp who's going to solve this? And it's like, no, it is 48-year-old Bob Hoskins who looks like he's wearing a sweater with his shirt off. We have the most grizzled manny man that's ever lived.
And the only kid's in it, he's like, "Thanks for the cigarettes."
Yes,
They just like hand him
exactly.
cigarettes while hitching a ride on the Cloverleaf.
Yes, while stealing a ride on a trolley car. And
I
it's like,
love it.
that is brilliant. Like, thanks for the cigarettes. It's one of the first things I noticed. I was like, and that's the end of child representation in this entire movie.
Even baby Huey, who's the baby, he's
Yes.
like, "I've got a 40-year-old lust and a 3-year-old dinky." Like, he's
Yeah.
a grown man. He like slaps the caretaker on the ass. Like, "Go get me a
No.
race form, toots."
I guess people nowadays would be horrified by how many bombshells there are in this and how like the sexual, innuendo and like sexual harassment really flies, but like it doesn't bother me at all.
It's one of those things like, Jesus Christ, like we used to they're cartoons.
Yes.
Everybody
Yeah.
just chill. At Jessica Rabbit, I'm realizing, so I'm working on this book about my life inside swing revival, because that's
Yes.
like my second biggest passion after mysteries.
Mhm.
And realizing as I'm looking back at how I came to swing music and then how it helped me beyond, Jessica Rabbit, like coming out and singing "Why Don't You Do Right" was
Yes.
such a pivotal moment. Like something changed in me in that moment where I'm like, that's what I want to look like. And not in a body dysmorphic way, but in a way
No.
like I love singing and that song is so sexy. And so like that led me to like vocal jazz and, wearing really tight dresses
Yeah.
and it's just really changing everything. And also, but that she's like, I love my husband
Yes.
and he makes me laugh
Mhm.
and that she would really do anything for her husband. And I love that. Like I would do anything for my husband. I would play
Yeah,
patty cake with
exactly.
Marvin Acme. Or
Yeah.
yeah, Marvin Acme, not
Yeah, it was
Oscar
with
Maroon.
Acme.
Yeah.
Like she's like the character of Jessica is not just that she's like voluptuous. It's that she commands the power that comes with being drawn to entice men. And that, the line, one of the greatest lines ever written in a movie is like, I'm not bad. I was just drawn that way. And it's like such an incredibly weirdly empowering line.
Yeah.
Whereas like the way you read me is not accurate to who I am. And it's just like, God damn, good message for
Yeah.
kids coming out of like someone with, who's drawn with boobs out to God knows where.
And it's okay
Yeah.
to have boobs out to God knows where. I wish I had them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went as Jessica Rabbit for Halloween in college. And what I did was I built the dress off a Victoria's Secret corset.
Ooh.
So that I actually was stitched into the dress. So I had my friend like boot on my back, like yanking me into this thing.
Yeah.
Please. And then stitched the dress, pasted it to the corset. So I don't still have the dress because it was like
Yeah.
fitted to this thing. And that's why I bought him on eBay. It was like $15.
That's amazing.
I don't have the dress, but I still have him. And And then one year, I think for Record Store Day, or Record Saturday rather, my old live tweet, I dressed up as Eddie Valiant.
Oh my God.
So I had the drab brown suit. And,
Yes, because
yeah,
he's
so
so depressing.
he's so
In the
miserable.
grand scheme of private investigators, he is just so
He's
depressing.
such a
And
bum.
yeah, he's such a bum. I think that's my favorite thing about private investigators, like as a genre and as a character, is that like everything has to suck for them all the time.
Yeah, they never get paid. Like the check never clears.
They
Yeah,
rarely
there's a
get the
whole thing
girl at the end.
in. Sorry, I lost you there for a sec.
I said they never get the girl at the end. Like it just sucks for them all around.
Yeah, I have a running gag throughout the Wade and Jack series. Like Martin never ever gets paid. Like anytime, I mean, I'm sure he does, but like anytime you see a case that he's taking, they usually they'll put down a retainer and then that's it. He never collects the back half of his fee.
Yeah.
He's never shown on the page as collecting the other half. I don't know how this man stays in like nice suits and fresh
That's
coffee,
not a consideration
but
of the genre. Like we don't have to do the math. That's not what we're here for.
No, but he never, and that's deliberate because so many of them just never get paid. So I've made it my mission to like make sure Martin Wade never cashes a check. Yeah. Not on my pages.
Not on my watch. I don't know what he does when I'm not writing him, but that's not my business.
Not my fucking business. So
do you often think of like characters that you write as like having a life outside of the snippets that you see?
Yes, they have very active lives.
That's awesome.
Just like the little things they do.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, honestly. I think that's actually the sign of like a really well-written book, and especially a mystery, is that like times where the camera pans over to them and you actually see it. It's like because they have to have expertise. They have to have things that you can't show while like it's actively happening. And again, one thing that this movie does really, really well is that like the setup and the fun and games section where they're panning over Eddie and Teddy's memorabilia, you get the entire story in about 45 seconds without any dialogue and any explanation. And you're just kind of like, right, movies can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to fill in anything since it's a visual medium.
Yeah. So, God bless. Must be nice.
So good. I love this movie so much. This is one of those, like, when I think about, when people ask me what my favorite movie is, I usually say Roadhouse. Because that is my favorite movie to watch with other people. But I usually watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like, once a year. I'll just be like, it's time to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yes, exactly.
It's a comfort movie. I love it. I love every scene of it. It's like that and Back to the Future are movies I can put on anytime. Less of Back to the Future, though, because if I watch Back to the Future, I'm going to want to watch Back to the Future 2. And if I watch Back to the Future 2, I have to watch Back to the Future 3. So that's an all-day commitment.
Yeah.
My husband and I actually saw the re-release, the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. And in theaters, it looked great. It was a really nice restoration. But then we got home. And we're like, we should probably watch Back to the Future too. And then we're like,
exactly. And it's like,
well,
we can't up until 4 a.m.
I know. We ended up going to sleep at like 2 a.m. because like we just couldn't. It's like, well, we can't leave him there in 1885. Like we got to go back and get him.
Yeah, that's so irresponsible.
And I love Christopher Lloyd.
I was going to say, Christopher Lloyd is, we've been talking about Bob Hoskins, just like, who's so wonderful as at anchoring this movie because he's such an every dude. And I think like there's a bit on IMDb where he describes himself as 5'6" and cubic. And it's like, yeah, no, that about sums it up, Bob Hoskins. Like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that does.
Horrible.
But Christopher Lloyd is so wonderful in this. And he's
so terrifying.
And so terrifying.
It's like, absolutely.
I mean, he's wearing like a Stasi uniform, first of all, that like he looks like the secret police. He's wearing the glasses that you can only just barely see his eyes behind.
The kind of smoke lenses, yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so good. And it's such good foreshadowing. And I love it so much. But like, you also have the experience of Christopher Lloyd in previous roles. I'm assuming, it's like I know him from Taxi, and he's just so wonderful in Taxi because there's like an innocence to him. And it's like, and then all of a sudden, he's one of the most malicious motherfuckers in the world in this movie. And it's like, it's really, really, really good casting. And
It is.
I can't imagine other people in either of those roles.
Maybe Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller would absolutely dip a shoe in Turpentine.
Yeah.
He probably looked at that movie and was like, "That's who I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm going to be Judge Doom."
Yeah. And the shoe gets dipped. The shoe gets obliterated off the face of the planet for the sin of essentially acting like a cat and like nuzzling like Judge Doom's ankle. And he's like, I have to obliterate it. And you're just like, yep, you're right. That is Stephen Miller. Absolutely.
Yeah, Stephen Miller. This movie changed Stephen Miller's life because he's only like a little
He's the
older
same
than
age
us.
as me. Like, yeah, he's like 2 months older than me. And I'm just like, how?
He
Stephen
saw
Miller.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit and took the wrong lesson. He would bulldoze Toontown in a second. He would just wipe Toontown off the map for a freeway.
He's from Santa Monica. Like,
I think we just cracked the mystery of Stephen Miller.
We did.
Stephen Miller is just Judge Doom. Has anyone tried throwing some turpentine on him and seeing if he melts underneath?
I don't think it's a bad idea to even start with.
Just run him over with a steamroller and see if he pops back up. Oh my God, though,
exactly.
when the knife eyes comes out and he's like, and I talk like this, I'm like, holy shit. That was, even like I said, as an adult, that would have to be like, I think I'm just going to go, I know how it, I'm just going to go
refill.
To the shower.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Exactly. It's like in Muppets Christmas Carol when they're like, this is too scary for us. We'll see you at the finale. It's like, yeah, that's this now.
It's so terrifying. It's so good. As I said, like, I've got a real soft spot for Doc Brown, and I always have. And just recognizing Christopher Lloyd's power in this. I saw him a couple of years ago in King Lear.
Ooh.
And he was incredible. Like, he still got it. Just the absolute ability to command a scene. And then a couple years later, he's Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
Like, the man kind of defined my childhood.
Yeah. He's like, I'm here for the weird kids. And the weird kids went, yes, you are. Thank you very much.
You are our cool uncle who is also very scary sometimes.
Yeah, who's legitimately terrifying. I mean, again, this is according to IMDb. They auditioned Tim Curry for the role, and he was too scary. They were like, I mean, I love Tim Curry forever. Yeah. I would not be able to handle that. No, we would not be having this conversation if Tim Curry was in that role. Yeah, it would be way too like clowning it, like terrifying Tim Curry, because he's so incredible. But like he has, because there's moments in this where Christopher Lloyd is dialing it back, but like he could have been scarier in like the shaving a haircut 2 bits scene. Like it could have been more menacing, but it has like a jollity to it. There's a lightness to it. Tim Curry would have no lightness. There would be absolutely no side smile whatsoever to that.
No. And there's an elegance, like Christopher Lloyd has always had a quiet elegance to him. Not that Tim Curry doesn't. It's a different elegance. Yeah. And he brings just a dis-ease. And he did that in King Lear, because at first I was sort of like, okay, is he going to be okay? Like this, it took me a minute to realize like what he was doing and the kind of power he was bringing to the role. Yeah. He's always been able to do that. He's terrifying. Yeah. I love him. My husband was going to go as Judge Doom. That's one of the costumes, like the couple's costumes we planned. Yes. Like I would go as Eddie and he would go as Judge Doom. Because we're in upstate New York and I can't go out dressed like Jessica Rabbit. No. You would freeze to death. Cold. Yes. I guess I could have a big fur. There you go. One of these. I was going to say, like, Christopher Lloyd, this might just be a me thing, but he's not sexy, whereas everything Tim Curry does is sexy. So it's just kind of, I feel like that might be the drawing line of like, you don't want to add like the sexual element to Judge Doom. I don't feel that way about Tim Curry, but I recognize that a lot of people do. It's like not for me, but also like I see it. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas I've never gotten that read from Christopher Lloyd as much as I love him. Ooh, I don't know what it is. Like I've got a little thing for him. I think it's more that I have a thing for Doc Brown. That's fair. I think it's totally like fair. Yeah. But I do. Christopher Lloyd is magnetic in everything. Yeah, he is magnetic. He's great in this. And just again terrified a generation of children.
Yeah.
My former co-host partner, Drew, who was on the Shattered Shield podcast, and Misbehavin', our Righteous Gemstones podcast, he got to meet Christopher Lloyd and had him sign a Who Framed Roger Rabbit autograph that he had. He had Bob Hoskins' autograph. Now he's Christopher Lloyd's. I don't know if Charles Fleischer is on there, but I was so jealous. He also got to meet everybody on the strike team.
Ugh.
Like, he got to meet Walton Goggins, and I'm just like, and you did not slip him my number. He did slip David Reese Snell my number. So he called me and said, like, hey, what's up?
That's awesome.
Cool. I know, but I'm like, Walton Goggins was right there.
Buddy, he let you down.
Come on.
Terrible.
Get it together, Drew. No, but it was cool to talk to David.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth on this one.
I love him.
Yes.
He's also, like, dumb hot.
Yeah.
Everyone on that show was, like, dumb hot. Michael Chiklis has, like, a incredible charisma that I can't ignore.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, circling back to the Bob Hoskins of it all, you're just kind of like, you know, that man could pull that lady, like, without a doubt. Like, he absolutely could. Like, there's a meme that goes around from Mermaids where it's like, no, he could absolutely pull Cher. What are you talking
100%.
about?
Yeah.
But, like, you don't think about that when you're watching this movie as a child. But when you're an adult and you're looking at it, you're like, no, I get it. I get Eddie Valiant. Like, this totally makes sense.
And again, like, all of you dumb children out there, bros.
Yeah.
You do not have to look. You do not have to be, like, maxed out. Bob Hoskins could get it.
Yeah. You always want to be like, dudes, listen to us. Participate more in mystery fiction, because there is not a single mystery guy who is described as like, he's flaming hot and he pulls all these chicks. They're always like, he's a man. If he's not actively ugly, he's nothing. Like Philip Marlowe is described as just like 6 feet tall, brown hair, brown eyes. He's a dude. He's just a dude. And yet chicks throw themselves at him. And you're just
Linda
like,
Loring gets in bed with him. Good for Linda Loring.
I know. Mystery fiction. Just have a purpose, be charming. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's okay, because I'm thinking of, like, all the detectives I think are hot. So, like, Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, check. Clive Owen in everything, but even as Sam Spade, check. Humphrey Bogart as Philip Marlowe, check. Obviously, like, Jay Carnes as Detective Dutch Wagenbach could get it.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah. It's like, all you have to do is be down
Eddie
and out,
Valiant.
never get a paycheck, and fight for justice.
Yeah, Eddie Valiant can get it. Like, they can all get it.
They can all get it. And it's because you're drawn to the idea that he's going to do good for someone. Go freaking figure.
I know. His crappy little apartment where he's washing his socks in the sink. He's got the
In the
Murphy
sink.
bed.
Yes!
I love his, like, office/apartment with the Murphy bed. Love it.
It's like, you don't need money. You sure as shit don't need money. Like, I love, oh my gosh, what's the name of the movie that I just watched with, I'll probably have to cut this because I can't remember it. Oh, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid with Steve Martin. And he's Steve Martin in the 80s. Steve Martin was such a babe and no one talks about it.
I know.
But, like, he's such like again, like exact same cookie cutter, you know, stereotypical private eye. And you're just kind of like, nah, Steve Martin could totally get it.
Yeah, he could pull chicks.
Yeah.
He could pull, even him and Martin Short on Only Murders could pull chicks.
No lie. Steve Martin is in his 80s and that man looks incredible.
I know.
I need to know the yoga, perhaps Pilates routine, the diet, whatever they're feeding you, Steve Martin. Or is it just that if you laugh, you're not a terrible person?
I think it really is, like, laughing, I think, makes you good looking.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like, if you laugh and you love the people around you, like, I know that sounds so naive, but I think that's it. I think that's just the secret is, like, enjoy delicious food, love the people who are around you, and just be a good person. Laugh often.
Which,
God, if we become like Live, Laugh, Love.
So, because like we are talking about books and movies where murder happens a lot, you know, so I think we have a little bit more grit than that. But like, what is it about comedic mysteries that like speaks to you specifically? Because I know that I can't write anything, or at least I try not to write anything that's not funny. You're very funny. Like, what is it about comedic mysteries that kind of speak to you?
I think because I generally don't write comedic mysteries. I mean, like, they have some
Yeah, they're
good lines in them,
yeah.
so I'm really attracted to them because I generally like, I just love comedy, and
But for some
it's
reason, they're
also
natural bedfellows. You know what I mean?
yeah, and especially because there's a gallows humor there. They have to be because you are dealing with dead bodies, and it's hard to find that balance between being irreverent and disrespectful,
Yeah. Yeah.
but actually, like, the human need to laugh
Yeah.
and the human need to crack a joke. And I think that's something, like, I pulled from my newspaper days, is, like, sometimes, like, you need something at least, if not funny, kind or warm
Mhm.
to just break up the grimness.
The grimness, yeah. And the unrelenting, truthful grimness that happens. I think one of the things that I love about this movie, that it happens at the midpoint, and it's when Eddie Valiant is hiding Roger Rabbit in sort of like the back room of the bar, and Judge Doom is trying to get him out with the shave and haircut 2 bits thing. And Eddie Valiant essentially just looks at the camera and tells you that I don't know who is toonier, Roger Rabbit or Judge Doom. So he tells you exactly the solution to the mystery. I don't know why that was so like essential to me. Like I didn't catch it the first time I saw it, but of course now that I know the reveal at the end and I I hear the line now, but there I love that sort of dramatic irony that comes from it.
Mhm.
And the I think irony in mystery fiction is wholly underused because
Yes, yes, because that's, I think, such the essential part of the mystery is being able to go back and see where you missed it. Because it's
Mhm.
not about tricking the reader. It is about the reader having the same, like,
Aha.
moment of
Yeah.
clarity that the detective has and being able to cycle back and be like, "He told me." He didn't know that he
Yeah.
was telling me that Judge Doom is a tune, but he intuitively picked up on that, and being
Mhm.
able to write a scene that has that intuition and that, instills that in the reader is
Yeah.
such a good feeling.
Yeah.
So
Like
I
I've
never get
been
mad when people don't guess the
no.
murderer. I want you to get there and be like, "That makes sense."
Yeah.
Not, "I saw that coming a million miles away, but there it is.
Yeah, but
I knew something was off, but I couldn't pinpoint it."
yes. And I feel like there's been a really weird sort of off-putting resurgence of people demanding what they call the fair play mystery, and they feel like if they didn't solve it before there's a reveal in the book or at the end of the movie that you somehow tricked them, and you just want to be like as a writer, you just kind of want to be like, "I'm sorry you didn't read and comprehend the clues that I was laying out for you."
Yeah, or also, like, what happened, I like being surprised. And that
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
like, that's part of the reason why I sort of don't go to the movies as much anymore, is because everything seems to follow such a formula. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be surprised either by, like, the way the film goes
Mhm.
or,
I
just
mean,
something about it. Like, The Bride was really surprising to me. Like, I was
yeah.
not, if I sat back and thought about it, I could have been like, "Okay, this is, of course, where this is going." Like, everything about The Bride took me by surprise in the best way. Like, I was not expecting it to be like a Bonnie and Clyde story. I was not expecting the emotional resonance that that movie had with me. But, everyone's like, "Oh, well, did you see Project Hail Mary?" I'm like, "Let me guess. Ryan Gosling has to save the planet," and he does.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that just sunshine? Okay. But like, yeah, no, I like when I went back and I rewatched Mike Flanagan's book of Hill House or series of Hill House, and that was after he was like, "Oh yeah, no, there's ghosts in every scene," and then you're just kind of like, "I didn't see them," and he's like, "Yeah, no, I know," and then you go back and you see all the ghosts, and it's even more terrifying. Like when you go back and you see like the people lurking under furniture or like around corners and stuff like that,
That's
and I'm always
fucked
just
up.
like, that's what I want in
Mhm.
book or film form when it comes to mysteries, is like, I don't always think that a lot of the times you read a mystery novel and you're just kind of like, well, I know who done it, so there's no point in going back. And I'm like meant to be read multiple times. Like, please go back and read it again and see what you missed. It's such an interesting, wonderful experience.
Yeah, and I think that's why I write my characters the way I do, is because for me, it's always the characters first and the mystery second, and I think that is something I learned from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because the
Yeah.
characters, the way they interact, our interior and exterior lives are so rich as I said, sometimes you forget that there's a mystery
Yeah.
going on. And I think especially because at the halfway point, he's like, we're just going to get you out of town. Like, we don't know what's happening. We're just going to get you to safety. That's it. Like, you sort of give up on the mystery.
Yeah.
And you have that moment where he's like, they're in the theater and they're talking. And he's like, you should get yourself a good man. And Dolores is like, I have a good man. And you have all these moments of human connection and tune connection.
Yeah.
But that take you out of the mystery for a minute. And I want people to be able to forget that there's a mystery going on for a few minutes and focus on the lives of the characters. That's why I write the way I write. And as I said, that goes back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit first and foremost. And then Raymond Chandler built on it, Sean Ryan built on it with The Shield, and like all of these other influences that I've had that led me to write the kind of books I write.
Love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on and talking
God,
about this
thank
absolutely
you so
delightful
much.
movie.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me get to it before anybody else.
Yeah.
It's just like, I will fight people. As I said, like, I'm looking around. I forgot that I have, like, the storybook.
Yes.
And
like,
yeah, that,
so
like, we've got it on Blu-ray, like, or whatever, the most, like, recent, like, double feature, all the editions. I love also that for a while they were doing cartoons before the movies.
Yeah.
There's I forget the name of the short. There's like a camping one, and Jessica's got these bright red shorts.
My God.
And that's like my summer wardrobe is I have like those shorts and I have a little camp shirt so I can like walk around being Jessica Rabbit in my garden.
That's awesome.
I love her.
It. Like everything about this movie is awe-inspiring. Like, even if you don't think that the mixed animation and things like that will be new to you, if you haven't seen this in a while, like, sit down and watch it. Like, Jessica's sparkling dress was mesmerizing. Like, I have no idea how they did that.
Winner.
It's incredible.
Well, and it's also like that it still looks so good after all these years.
Yeah.
Like, even though it was they had other animated live action movies like Pete's Dragon in the 60s, but none quite at this technical level.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember if it has an Oscar or a Golden Globe.
Probably an Oscar, I would hope. Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah. Also, it looks better than any other sort of movie in its wake. Although the Blu-ray restoration of Cool World looks incredible, and that's scanned from the original film negatives. Like, that does
fantastic.
Look really, really good.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie, but it does look really good. I have to give some love to Cool World, and I gotta give some love to Monkey Bone.
Yeah.
Which tried to do kind of the same thing, but with stop motion.
Yeah, which must have been painstaking.
I think Monkey Bone is great, but there needs to be a director's cut, because if you watch all of the scenes that got cut, those are the scenes that like make the movie make sense. There's a like load-bearing cut scenes. And I feel like if we could just get like the Henry Selick director's cut, Monkey Bone would actually be like a fairly well-loved movie. And it is like Cool World, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It is beautiful to look at.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely. I've got a plush Monkey Bone up on my shelf too.
Why do you have the neatest stuff? It's so cool.
Because my husband is like really cool about finding stuff. Like, he got me, he's like, I got you a Monkey Bone. Like, this is
of course
amazing.
He did. Yeah,
of course he did.
That's why I married you.
He's great like that. One last thing. Do you know about the original ending?
Do tell.
The original ending of Who Framed Roger Rabbit was like the book, where Roger dies.
Yeah.
He dies in a shootout. And Sting recorded a song called The Lazarus Heart, which he wrote about, like, for the end of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's on
There's a Sting
Nothing
ballad?
Like the Sun. Yep. It's incredible.
That's glorious.
It's it's a great song on its own, but yeah, it was the original theme to the end of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find that. That is absolutely
That's my fun Roger Rabbit fact.
Dynamite. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. So if anybody wants to keep in touch with you and your work, how can they do that?
You can check out my website, libbycudmore.com. It does need to be updated, but you can buy my books and things like that from there. You can find me on Blue Sky at Libby Cudmore. You can find me on Instagram at record_Saturday, or you can listen to me over on the OST Party podcast. We actually, a couple episodes back, we did Tales from the Crypt Demon Night, which has Charles Fleischer as an actor, not just as a voice actor.
That's
he plays the
awesome.
crazy postman.
Yeah, because he is a whole nother thing we didn't get into when it comes to the making of this movie.
Yes, but it was because I hadn't really seen him
Like physically.
live.
Yeah.
So there's also a fascinating episode of Defunctland which talks about the Who Framed Roger Rabbit dark ride that was at Disneyland.
Okay. Awesome.
That is worth watching.
Okay, I'm gonna find. I'll link to that in all the show notes and everything, so everybody can go and find it because that is cool as hell.
Yes. It talks about some of the real world incidents that completely changed the dark ride.
Awesome.
It's
very
incredible.
Cool.
I love Defunctland. I'm not a Disney person. Like, I'm
Me
really
neither.
not like a Disney adult at all. But I'm sort of fascinated by like the weird Disney darkness. There's also an episode about their Pleasure Island resorts, which for a while had like a Jessica themed store.
What?
Like Jessica's, like I was hoping it would sell lingerie because I would absolutely buy Jessica Rabbit themed lingerie.
Yeah, naturally. That makes perfect. Yeah. But 100%. It didn't, apparently.
It didn't. It just sold t-shirts, which I would also buy.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's a rabbit t-shirt.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.